Hello and welcome to today's video. We're going to cover the teams going to First Stand 2026. I'm just talking about some key team stats. These are actually the stats I utilize to determine the power rankings, which we'll update again after First Stand is done. And then afterwards, we'll talk about some player in particular things with these teams and go over my predictions, which is probably why you clicked on the video anyway. So, we have PR for the first column. That is power rankings. The top four teams are separated from the bottom four teams due to major region, minor region power rankings. LCK, LPL, with the LPL nerfed, and then LEC, LCP, LCS, CB low, where LEC is the only one. They are the standard, and the other three are nerfed based on 2025 international results at First Stand, MSI, and Worlds. Yes, that means America's Cup will not count. So, first, second, fourth, fifth. The team missing, T1. They were actually third. They are third right now statistically, based on the stats I have here. And then in the bottom group, Team Secret Wales in G2. Cloud9 technically were third. And then Loud 13th. So, win rate. Gen G are crushing it at a 91% win rate this season. 20-2. That is crazy because this team is in the toughest region. And they are dominating their opponents. Team Secret Wales in the LCP, 79% in their own right. A very strong start. However, BFX and JDG, you may say, yeah, but they're the two seeds. They shouldn't have as high win rates. No, but 55 and 52%. These teams definitely got here with a lot of speed bumps along the way. 52% win rate. I mean, that is what it is, but the fact is they are it's the other stats that help boost them above others, and also helps that they got to this event, and that is a boost in and of itself in the algorithm. But, yeah, not winning quite as many games. The dominance isn't quite there. KD, kill-death ratio, Gen G, 2 kills for every death. Team Secret Wales, 1.71. Lower end of things, BFX, just 1.04. And actually, Loud have more deaths than kills in 2026. Keep in mind that does include when they were with Mago, and I will not separate the just 7 games that Envy has played because that is way too small of a sample, and I'd rather have a scuffed sample than a small sample. Gold spent percentage. How much more gold has a team spent percentage-wise relative to the opponent in their games? Gen G, 11.7% more gold. That's significant. That's huge. That's atop the charts. Team Secret Wales, 10.5. You see BFX and JDG actually less than their opponents. EGR, early game rating. Who are the best teams in the early game? LPL, we don't get early game and mid game stats. Gen G around 63%, and G2 65%. Lion 61%. But lower end of things, Loud 37%. They struggle in the early game. Now, they're one of the best teams in the mid-game, recovering with a 32%, but that might be due to the fact that they are struggling in the early game. We'll see at this event if that kind of is what's going to screw them in the end, that they're not going to be able to compete with these other teams because in the early game, they're going to have so far behind that they can't make it up. Now, very strong mid-game will help, but Team Secret Wales don't have a terrible mid-game. Gen G have a great mid-game. And then BFX have the worst one of the group. D percentage, B percentage. Drake taken percentage, Baron taken percentage. Gen G take over 2/3 of the Drakes in their games. They also take nearly 7 out of every 8 Barons that are taken in their games. Talk about serious objective control. Team Secret Wales, 58 and 82. Significant control. But the lower end of things, BFX, about 50-50. Their objective control isn't quite as dominant. They lose quite a lot of objectives. They're behind in games. JDG, 54-48. And then Lion are one of the worst teams. And they are the worst team in this. Less than half of Drakes and Barons are taken by Lion. That is not a recipe to winning games in the end. And at this event, that is something that has me thinking in my predictions. How is this team going to do against the other 3 in this bottom group? Because if they can't get objectives regularly in the LCS, Are they going to do it against other teams that I consider to be stronger statistically? LCS, JCS. Lane CS percentage, jungle CS percentage. So, Gen G are the strongest. They're taking 51.2% of the farm in lane. Relative to their opponents, 51.2, 48.8. Jungle CS, they're really getting after it and taking the jungle camps at 55.3%. Other high notes, Loud, 50.8. Shino, in top lane, doing very well with a 9.3 CS per minute. And then Team Secret Whales, 54.4. His toe, finding a lot of farm in the jungle and keeping the enemy from getting it. Lower end of things, BFX, less than 50-50. So BFX are a team that struggle in lane and getting farm and shit like that. So that is a thing. But some interesting stats. These are the stats we use for the power rankings and how we value them going forward and versus regions, interregional ranking is something else. But these are the key stats we use. So that's for the first half. Now into the second half. Okay, now for the second half. This board not as crazy. We start with experience. International games played. It's kind of crazy. Gen G and BLG are so close at 556 to 558. Both teams have MSI champions. Both teams have a world champion. Gen G has two. They have two. And they have MSI champions. BLG also have MSI champions and a world champion in Viper. I do and still will say BLG are capable of beating Gen G on paper. They have players that are good enough. I don't look at an LPL player that's just as good. I mean, I think they're just as good. There's a reason why Ruler went to JDG and JDG didn't quite get the job done, did they? When it was all said and done at Worlds. Gen G's a team just like BLG that can't win at Worlds. Now BLG can't win at MSI, but that's a whole nother thing. Then we have BFX, only 20 games, the least on the board. Those are all Kellens. This is international experience in Tier 1. JDG, 227. Team Secret Whales, a young team, 40. G2, 490. That's because all of them keep going. Caps, BB, Hansama. Now Lebrav and Skuman. Lion, 135. Loud, 36. So Loud, not the most inexperienced team here. They have two players that have went international, Envy and Redbird. Kill participation, it's supports and junglers who lead the way. No mid laners leading in kill participation. Sometimes you'll get that. In this case, we don't with these teams. 75% for Duro, Raptor, Skuman, 3 out of every 4 kills, but it's all very close. On being the only one below 70% for BLG, indicating a lot of fighting away from him. Damage share, gold share, very straightforward. You see a lot of blue. That's all 80 carries. But something to note, 2 things. One, obviously that BLG and Knight leads in damage for that team. He is efficiently being the carry for the team in damage, despite Viper getting the gold. Now, most of these players do not have a great share differential. We're looking at roughly, because this is a rounding, 2%, 1%, 2%, 2%, 1%. That's not very efficient. You're giving all this gold to a player, and they're really not dealing enough damage, in my opinion. Now, you've got, down here in the LCS, Berserker dealing 31% of Lion's damage for 26% of the gold. That is very efficient. He is giving the team return on investment. And Inspired is a big reason why, because he's not dealing a ton of damage. He's playing more of a traditional tank jungler role. And he's able to take his gold that he's getting and know, hey, Berserker is going to deal a lot of the damage. I don't have to. He can handle it and shoulder the load, and I'm going to play a tankier build. Bull, 29% in his own right for Loud. Another player that's pretty efficient as well. So, just some things to talk about. I mean, I did it, so I ended up talking about it, but didn't think it was going to be that interesting because last time we did this for Worlds, there was a couple teams with like even top laners that were leading in damage, and BDD led in kill participation. It was something to talk about. But here, just you got Knight being the one that sticks out. Now, Predictions 8 through 1. Understand that luck of the draw is going to play a role in this, kind of. If not, just third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It's probably a tie, so just keep that in mind. 8th place, Loud. Now, you might say, but America's Cup. Yeah, but America's Cup. We just went over it in the first half here. Loud struggled in the early game. And I think in due part to that, I don't think Loud ends up finishing higher than 8th. I think they finished last at this event. Shino, good player. We'll see how he does going forward. Lion, G2, Team Secret Wales. If that wasn't me trying to imply that the top 4 are on a different group, at least right now, I mean, you must not be listening very closely. So I would like to go. Man, let me look at this other board. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Team Secret Wales, Lion. We're going to go Team Secret Wales 7th, Lion 6th. And the reason I did that, this is tough, because Lion, I do believe, could struggle in Team Secret Wales. I think they could lose to Team Secret Wales. Team Secret Wales have much better objective control. They have some of the best objective control in this tournament. Lion has the outright worst. I think nameplate-wise, I like Inspired Saint into his to Dyer quite a bit. Now, Pun into Dokla could be interesting. Pun could take advantage of him. Bot lane duos, I do think that Berserker is better than Eddie. Now, after this, man, oh man. Huh. We're going to get spicy. We're going BFX 5th. And I can already see there are a couple people that are going to say, oh, I have BFX finishing 2nd. I have them finishing 3rd. Okay, whatever. I have them 5th. So, Caps and Avikla, theoretically, big diffy there. If they end up coming down to it, I like that matchup. Now, Diable Kellen. Now, do you get International Kellen? Don't you? I also like G2, theoretically. In fact, with the coaching staff, I think is a big difference. BFX, this is the first real Tier 1 trip for Ito. Dylan Falco's been around the block. So, Dylan should know how he's gonna duck and dive this week and get better and improve and be prepared to adapt, where BFX are going to have to figure it out on the fly for the most part. And the players in part have to do that as well. And Skuman, I think, into Raptor is a wash. And Raptor's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting for BFX outside of Diable, in my opinion. So that's how I have that. JDG are 3rd. Tabe is a big reason why that ends up being that way it is. Coaching. Tabe's very good in situations like this internationally. Gala, solid. I think 3rd, 4th, and 5th are very close. I really do. I think there is a world where G2 could finish 3rd at this event if they hit it right and they come with some crazy picks. Junja Hankyu, they're good, but we'll see how they show up at this event. Zhaozhu and Vampire as well. This is their first trip internationally. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe the moment will be too much. And I'm going to have them 3rd, but we'll see. BFX, we'll see as well. Now, BLG Genji, we're going to go BLG 2nd, Genji 1st. I mean, big surprise. Big surprise. In the end, BLG have to prove that they can get the job done. They're capable. Knight's proven that he can win international events. Bin has proven he can win international events. Viper has proven he can win international events. And because of that, the team is capable. So, that is a thing. Genji are obviously better. Gen G are crushing the LCK, and the LCK is the strongest region. So what do we have to vote against Gen G outside of, oh, don't choke? So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.